So hello, play the game. It's Ziont again. Welcome back to Central. And we're watching some Black Ops 2, but we're not talking about Black Ops 2 because as of this recording, I have just recently watched the Call of Duty Ghosts official multiplayer reveal. And I want to talk about it. About my hopes, my thoughts, my grievances, and just my general what works, what won't work, what I'm not excited about, and what actually has me intrigued. The first thing I want to talk about is a couple things. First, there are no death streaks, which is good. No more Painkiller, no more Dead Man's Hand, Final Stand. Last Stand is truly dead from the Infinity Ward games because, while Robert Brolin did say, F you, Last Stand, Final Stand was in Modern Warfare 3, and that didn't go over very well. But now, there are no death streaks, but there is something that, in my mind, replaces them when it comes to the bullshit that is in these games, and that's the cranked game mode. Call of Duty has always had its environmental deaths, and Ghosts introduces traps and dynamic environments that allow the map itself to be the enemy. But they've actually added the game mode, cranked, that kills you. Now, I know that their idea is that the cranked game mode, the timer that counts down to you literally exploding, is as a form of incentive to get more kills and to rush. They're trying to get the camper out of the camper. And the game mode has two facets, because you gain perks or abilities as the game mode continues. So it's Specialist, the game mode, but oh wait, if you don't get enough kills to get your next Specialist perk, you explode. So on the one hand, I disagree with their decision to make not only the environment, not only other players, but the game itself punishes you for failure. I like the fact that they're incentivizing movement even more than they did with Kill Confirmed, and even in Kill Confirmed in Modern Warfare 3, people still camped. You can't take the camper out of the camp. It's not possible, but I admire their tenacity in attempting it. What I don't admire so much is their adherence to the strike package model. I do not want support coming back. It is rewarding play that is not helpful, that is not good, and unlike in other Call of Duties where you are rewarded for success, punished for failure as a tool to learn by, here they are basically rewarding you for failure. Nothing in life should reward you for failure. And that's exactly what the support strike package does. But before this turns into a giant support package rant, let me say that I am glad Specialist is coming back, because as overpowered as Specialist was in Modern Warfare 3, and it will be even more so if it's the same, because there are about 3 times more perks, I am glad it's coming back, because one thing Infinity Ward has always understood is that if everything is overpowered, nothing is bad. Nothing is unusable. And Specialist is some of the most overpowered crap you will see in Call of Duty, minus Marathon Lightweight Commando, One Man Army 2. But on to something I actually do really like about Ghosts, and one thing that I think games nowadays need more of simply because we have the ability to do it, and that's the customization. Call of Duty 4 revolutionized the series, if not the genre, with its created class concept. And ever since then, the Call of Duty developers have been trying to match that level of customization, that revolutionary customization model. And again, Infinity Ward, I think, will have it on two fronts. Their Create a Soldier idea, where everything about your soldier is customizable, with over 20,000 combinations. I love that. That you'll probably see 1 or 2 identical soldiers on the battlefield in your time playing Ghosts. You won't see 5 guys that look exactly the same because they're using SMGs, or 6 guys on a team in bushwalkie suits because they're using Ghost, or whatever it is that generates the player model. I think we've been needing that for a long time now, and it's something that I really hope Battlefield doesn't necessarily do. They don't have to do that to make Battlefield 4 successful, but I think they should take a little more from that, or do something akin to it, and I think they are. But this is about Call of Duty, so I'll lay that aside for now. I also like how they've varied up the loadout system. I think Treyarch had a really good idea with the Pick 10 system, but even that was too restrictive. Because if everything is equal in value, from the pistols to the perks to the lethal grenades, the tactical grenades, then everything has to be really, really powerful. And one of the complaints that I know a lot of people had with Black Ops 2 is that everything was balanced to the point. It didn't have individual point values. So an attachment has the same point value as a weapon. And so the attachment must be as viable as the weapon itself. And from a balance standpoint, that's restrictive. It's limiting. And so what Infinity Ward has done is they've said, all right, the attachments are free, which I love, and because perks are no longer attached to just the soldier or the weapon, and then they've assigned individual point values to the rest of it. A tactical grenade is so many points. A perk is so many points. A weapon is so many points in the loadout. So the loadout is still very customizable, very fluid, but things are worth different things. So a red dot sight is no longer 1 point. It is no longer taking up a gigantic amount of space within the loadout. A grenade is no longer taking up that space in the loadout. And so, while the overpowered setups will become known to us in time, they always are, the Extended Mag Silencer ACR, the FAMAS with red dot, the FAMAS with red dot in Black Ops 1, and not just Modern Warfare 2. All of these things do fall out pat as we find them. But I think the customization bit it gives a lot more freedom as far as the loadout is concerned, and I like that. But what would a multiplayer game be without maps in which to play? And this is the last thing I'll talk about. The maps, first of all, they don't look quite as good as Modern Warfare 2 Infinity Ward maps, but they don't quite look as good as, say, Black Ops 2 maps. I think Black Ops 2 maps are fairly pretty. But what I'm hoping is that they're about the same size that we've seen from previous outings, and that the revenge spawn system does not play into the hands of the map. Infinity Ward is going with a design philosophy of fast, frenetic, and fun, and I like that ideal. Is that the maps should not be so small and restrictive that you're literally spawning on top of people, like in Dome, where where literally you spawn and you could throw a grenade at the enemy team. I don't think they should be that small. But I like the fact that they're making maps small enough to be fast and frenetic, but not large enough like, say, Black Ops 1's Array, where it's just a bore fest. What I saw in the multiplayer reveal also gave me a lot of hope as to map variety. I saw a snow map, I saw a night map, I saw a day map, I saw a map with a gray sky, I saw a map with a sunny sky, I saw all of these things that really varies up the aesthetic. That's one of the things the first Black Ops really needed. It was all snow maps, it was all white and grimy. Whereas Infinity War games have always had this really nice variation. And that's one of the things I think they're really pushing this time, is the variation not only in playstyle, but in aesthetic. From the player model, to the weapon, to the way you move about the map, which is something that's really interesting. The vaulting system is nice, and all those new things. But they're really adding variety to the series, and that's something that's sorely needed. Is we have these new game modes, we have these new customization models, we have these new player models, all of this new stuff that will hopefully give the series a shot in the arm, because it sorely, sorely needs one. Because we've been playing the same basic game for years now, and while it's still going to be Call of Duty, I really think that just these little tweaks, and that's all it really has to be at this point, are these little tweaks to make it a new experience. Because we want to play something new, we still want it to be Call of Duty.